Hello everyone, I am Nithin, a final year PhD student from Department of Electrical Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. All are welcome to the presentation of our paper titled Impact of Multiple Fully Observing Receivers in Molecular Communication, co-authored by Gupta, Neeraj, Varshney, and Anshuman, Jindal. What is molecular communication? Molecular communication is a new paradigm for communication between nanomachines over a short range. The transmitter nanomachine communicates with the receiver nanomachine using molecules termed as information molecules, or in short IM, as the carrier of information. The information to be transmitted is translated to the information molecules and are released to the communication channel. The released molecules will move from the transmitter by nanomachine to the receiver by nanomachine through a propagation medium. In this work, we consider diffusion-based propagation. For decoding the transmitted information, the receiver captures the propagating information molecules using receptors on the surface of the nanomachines. Communication using molecules exists everywhere. For example, neuronal and hormonal signaling inside our human body to bacterial and pheromonal communication uses molecules as the carrier of information. Molecular communication is suitable for intra-body communication. For example, it could sense concentration of various types of molecules and pathogens inside human body and can communicate the information between nanomachines inside the human body. For the out-of-body transmission of the gathered data, we can rely on electromagnetic wave-based communication. The collected data from the nanomachines are sent to the healthcare system using terahertz waves. Such a system combining molecular communication and terahertz communication can have a wide variety of applications in e-health services. Some of the healthcare applications possible using molecular communication are drug delivery system, lab on chip, regenerative medicine, artificial immune system, and drug delivery system. Now, mathematical modeling of diffusion. The molecules in a fluid environment are affected by thermal vibrations and collisions with other molecules. So the resultant motion is purely random without any preferred direction. Such type of motion can be mathematically modeled using random walk or Brownian motion. The random walk can be modeled as shown here. If dI of t is the location of the ith molecule at time t, then the location of the ith molecule at time t plus delta t is d of t plus a normal random variable with zero mean and variance 2d delta t into I. Here, d is the diffusion coefficient. Now let us denote CD of t as the concentration of solid molecules at distance d from the transmitter and at time t. Then the fixed second law of diffusion states that the rate of change of concentration with time is equal to d into Nabla square of CDT. Here Nabla square is the Laplacian operator. Now we consider a single receiver system with a point transmitter, which is a zero-dimensional point, and a fully absorbing receiver, which is a spherical in nature of radius a, and the surface is fully absorbing. That means its whole surface is covered with receptors, and whenever a molecule hits its surface, it is absorbed with probability 1. So if the point transmitter emits molecules impulsively, then the hitting probability or fraction of molecules absorbed by the receiver until time t is given by a by r into complementary error function of r minus a divided by square root of 4 dt. So this serves as the channel model for a single receiver system. Now we consider two different multi-receiver systems. First, consider a multi-receiver system with a malicious receiver in addition to the intended receiver. Here, the malicious receiver absorbs the information molecules in the communication channel and results in the loss of signal molecules. Thus, the malicious receiver affects the security of the molecular communication system by corrupting the intended receiver's decision. Second is a cooperative receiver system. Here, a second receiver is present can be utilized to increase the overall number of absorbed information molecules. Such a system improves the reliability of the communication channel. Actually, there are no exact analytical channel model for molecular communication system with multiple fully absorbing receivers. Many of the works relied on simulation-based approaches. An approximate analytical expression for hitting probability on each of the fully absorbing receiver in a two fully absorbing receiver system was derived in our past work. Later, this work was extended to derive the hitting probability expression for affairs with different sizes. An approximate analytical equation for hitting probability of an information molecule on any of the fully absorbing receiver system with multiple fully absorbing receivers was derived in 8. So in this work, we derive an approximate and accurate analytical expression for hitting probability of an ion on each of the FIR in a 3 FIR system. A simple expression for hitting probability is obtained when the FIRs are symmetrically positioned, and then we study the impact of malicious receivers on intended receivers' performance. The gain in detection performance when FIRs can cooperate with each other is studied. Then we provide an analytical framework to derive the hitting probability expression for molecular communication system with general N receivers. Now consider a molecular communication with 3 fully absorbing receivers located at A1, A2, and A3, which is at a distance R1, R2, and R3 from the transmitter located at the origin. The hitting probability of an information molecule that was supposed to hit FIR1 within time t, but is hitting either FIR2 or FIR3 is given by P bar of t comma R1 minus P1 of t. This is equivalent to these two summations. Here, dou P2 tau by dou tau is the probability that a molecule emitted from this transmitter reaches the FIR2 at the time interval tau d tau. If the IM is not absorbed by FIR2, it will move to FIR1. The probability that this molecule will eventually hit FIR1 in the remaining time t minus tau is given by P bar of t minus tau R21. R21 is the distance between the nearest point on FIR2 from the transmitter and the center of FIR1. Actually, the hitting point can be anywhere in the surface of the FIR2, but it is approximated as the closest point from the transmitter. That's why the derived equation is approximate. Similarly, in the second time, and the dou P3 tau by dou tau gives the hitting probability that the molecule emitted from the transmitter hit the FIR3 at the time interval tau plus d tau, and if it is not absorbed by FIR3, it will eventually hit FIR1 in the remaining time t minus tau with a probability P bar of t minus tau R31. Similarly, we can write the hitting probability of an ion that is supposed to hit FIR2 and FIR3. Now, taking the Laplace transform of the above 3 equations, we will get these 3 equations where P of S and P bar of S are Laplace transform of PA of T and P bar of Tx, where P bar of Sx is equal to A by Sx exponential of minus x minus a root of S by D. Here we have 3 unknowns, that is P1 of S, P2 of S, and P3 of S, and we have 3 equations. By solving the equation for P1 of S, we will get an expression like this, where alpha 1s, beta 1s, gamma s, and delta s is given as here. And this is the Laplace domain equation. Now, for getting the time domain equation, we have to take the inverse Laplace transform, which gives the probability that an IM emitted by the point transmitter hits FIR1 within time t in the presence of other FIRs. Now we validate the analytical expression using particle-based simulations, where the first plot is the hitting probability versus time, and these 3 curves represent the hitting probability on each of the FIRs. We can see that the analytical and particle-based simulation results are closely matching. And second one is the absolute error plot. Here we fix 2 of the FIRs in the YZ plane, and we vary the location of the FIR1 in this YZ plane, and we plot the absolute error, which is the difference between analytical results and simulation results, and we can see that the error is minimum. Now we consider a special case, that is a symmetric system where these 3 fully absorbing receivers are equidistant from each other and are equidistant from the point transmitter. Under this scenario, the hitting probability is given by this equation, which is much simplified. And when we substitute t tends to infinity, we get the fraction of IM that hit each of the fully absorbing receivers eventually. That is P infinity equal to A by R divided by 1 plus 2A by R. For a single receiver case, actually P infinity we will get is A by R. Now consider a scenario where FIR1 is the intended receiver and other 2 are the malicious receivers. Then the relative change in IM that is supposed to hit the intended receivers within time t, but is hitting the other 2 malicious receivers is given by Q1 of t equal to P bar of t R1 minus P1 of t by P bar of t R1. Here Q1 of t quantifies the relative influence of malicious receivers on the intended FIR. So the relative change in information molecule that is supposed to hit the intended FAR eventually, but is hitting the other malicious receivers is given by Q1 of infinity equal to 1 by 1 plus R by 2A. So the relative influence depends upon the distance between the receivers, that is R, and the radius of the receiver. The first plot shows the variation of Q1 of t with the angle between the malicious receiver and intended receivers. So if we increase the angle between them, we can see that the relative influence of malicious receiver is dropping, and with the increase in radius also, the relative influence reduces, and with the increase in the distance from the transmitter to the receiver also, the Q1 of t is reducing. Now this plot represents the variation of hitting probability with time when the number of malicious receivers are increased. The red line represents the hitting probability when there is no malicious receivers in the medium. Green one represent that there is one malicious receiver, and blue one represent there is two malicious receivers. So when the number of malicious receivers increases, there is a significant drop in hitting probability, which affect the secrecy of the communication channel. Now consider a scenario where FAR1 is the intended receiver and the two FARs are cooperating each other. The fraction of IMs hitting any of the FAR within time t to the fraction of hitting a single FAR in the absence of other FAR is given by S1 of t equal to summation I P of t divided by P bar of t comma R1. Now we substitute t tends to infinity, we get the fraction of ions eventually hitting any of the FARs to the fraction of ions hitting a single FAR in the absence of other FARs. In the symmetric case, that is S of infinity is equal to 3p infinity divided by P bar of infinity R, which gives 3 by 1 plus 2a by R. Here we can see that the value of S infinity is less than 3, and the value of S infinity will reduces much more when A increases or R reduces. That is when the radius of the receiver is increased and when the distance between the FAR is reduced. So what we expect is S infinity is 3, but actually it will be less than 3 because of the mutual influence of receivers. Now the channel model for a general FAR system. The hitting probability of IM that is supposed to hit FARI within time t, but is hitting the other n-1 FAR is given by this equation. This one is obtained similar to the 3 receiver case, but we consider the impact of the n-1 FARs on FAR1. Now we take the Laplace transform, we will get this equation. So here this is for FARI. For n FARs there will be n equations and n unknowns, that is PE of S. The solution of these equations and further analysis is left for future work. Now conclusions and future works. We had derived an approximate analytical expression for hitting probability for a 3 FAR system. The derived hitting probability expression was simplified for symmetric case, and we studied the impact of malicious and cooperative receivers on MC systems. The channel model helps to design communication systems that secure the desired binary emissions from eavesdrop pairs. We provided an analytical framework to derive approximate hitting probability expression for a molecular communication system with n fully observing receivers. Further analysis of the n receiver system will be done as a future work. Thank you.